to another sewing tutorial. Today we are finally making the Elisa dress. So many of you have been asking for this. I posted a reel and some photos already a few months ago. And ever since then I've been getting messages daily when I'm finally releasing the Elisa dress. So today, here we finally are. The Elisa dress is like a linen dress, and usually, often I think linen dresses are more like casual dresses, but because we're gonna use like those super thin polyester straps, they make the dress so much more elegant. And I've actually made the dress a few times before in white, and then it was worn as a wedding dress, which was absolutely mind-blowing. Actually, fun fact, on the first day when I launched my made-to-order brand Solana Handmade, on the first day I launched it, I was expecting not to get any orders because not many people, like barely anyone knew my brand. No one knew my brand in my opinion. But I actually got 10 orders, which was so cool. And on the first day as well, one of the orders, she asked me if I could make, because I think I only offered the dress in black. No, that's a lie. It was available in black and in white. But then I got a message and I got asked if I could make it maybe a bit longer, because she wanted to wear it as her wedding dress, and she ended up wearing it as her wedding dress, which was, oh my god, so cool. Like, imagine like me starting my little tiny clothing brand as a hobby, and then on the first day I'm getting an order for a wedding dress, which was so cool. So yeah, very excited that I'm teaching you today. I printed my sewing pattern out at home, and wrong way, like this. I would always recommend you printing out the first page, and then you need to measure one of the test boxes here. I always measure the one that's supposed to be 5 centimeters times 5 centimeters. If your box measures 5 centimeters and 5 centimeters, then your settings on your printer were correct. Like, you need to set the scale to 100%, that's very important. And yeah, once the box measures correctly, you can go ahead and print the remaining pages. And I've only ever made the dress out of 100% linen, but I didn't have any black linen with me, and I didn't want to drive to the store again because it's quite far away. But what I had is a blend of linen and viscose, which is 75% viscose and 25% linen, but it feels like linen, looks like linen, so I know it's also going to work perfectly. So that's the fabric recommendations I would give you. Either 100% linen or a blend of linen and viscose. And then this is what I'm using for my straps. I bought this in a store in Barcelona. I've never ordered those straps online, but I'm 100% sure you can find them on Amazon as well. Like, they're pretty thin, they're made out of polyester, and I bought it at a store where you could buy stuff to make jewelry. So, I don't know, I'm pretty sure at any arts and crafts store you can find a roll, and maybe you don't even need to buy a whole roll. I know that like the place where I bought it, they would also sell it per meter, but yeah, I just bought a whole roll. And those thin straps are gonna make the dress look so elegant, which I'm so excited to make this dress. And this dress is also super good for beginners. Like, it's a really easy pattern, really easy to put together, really easy to sew. I'm also going to be using my overlock machine, but if you don't have an overlock machine, you don't really need to have one. Like, I'm using my overlock machine to finish off the raw edges, but you can also do that with your normal sewing machine if you set it to a zigzag option, and then always zigzag the edges so they don't fray anymore. But that's it. I think I should stop talking now. I'm so nervous because there's people walking past. I wish I was back at home again. Like, I love having a pop-up store. It's amazing, like such a cool experience for me. But filming tutorials right now is super awkward. But yeah, I need to stop talking, and oh my god, so embarrassing. But yeah, now we're gonna start putting the sewing pattern together, then we're gonna start cutting off the fabric, and then we're gonna start sewing. So let's go. Okay, so here are all my pages, and we're gonna start with a 1, putting it right here. Then we have a 2, and then a 3, B1, B2, and B3, C1, C2, and C3, D1, D2, D3, E1, E2, and E3. I always like putting everything here roughly, just so I know that all the pages are where they need to be. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue them together. And I filmed, you can find a reel also that I posted on Instagram where you can see how to print the sewing pattern out and how to glue it together the easiest way, but I'm going to show you here again just with the first few pages. So we're starting with A1 and then A2 we're going to put on top here, and you're going to put it right where the dotted line is, and then this dotted line also needs to line up. And then we do the same here, A2, A3. Now it's time to take your measurements. You always need to take 3 measurements. You need to take your bust measurement, your waist measurement, and your hip measurement, which is the widest point of your bum. And with this sewing pattern, because we have 3 sewing patterns, we have the top part, which goes across the front and halfway across the back. And then we have the front skirt and we have the back skirt. So if your bust is a different size than the rest of the dress, with this dress it's super easy to cut out the top in one size and the remaining of the dress in another size. And also if you want to add length through the dress, you can just add a few more centimeters. If you want to make it shorter, I would always recommend just following the sewing pattern. And then once you have tried it on, you can always make it shorter, because it's really annoying when you make a dress and you make it shorter from beginning on, and then you try it on and you realize it's way too short now. So yeah, from beginning on, add a few centimeters if you want to make it longer, but if you want to make it shorter, wait until the end. And once you figured out which size you want to cut out, you can then check on the first page which line you need to follow. I printed mine out in color now, but even if you print it out in black and white, all different sizes have different dotted lines. So now it's time to start cutting out. I'm cutting out mine in a size small, so I need to follow this line here. I want to give you a little tip when it comes to cutting fabric. I don't know if you can see it on the video here, but when you look at your linen fabric, you can really nicely see all the grain lines. And when you fold your fabric in half, for example, make sure that the lines are all straight. And then with this sewing pattern, for example, like we have a straight line here, make sure that this line goes straight with the grain lines, because then when cutting it out, it's going to look so much nicer. So don't put it like on a diagonal on the grain lines, but try and put it like straight in line with the grain lines. Now we're just making sure that we all have the same amount of pieces. We have 2 times the top of the front. Then here we have the back of the skirt. And then here we have the front of the skirt. So in total we need to have 4 pieces cut out. And now it's time to start sewing. We're going to start now with our 2 top pieces, and when you work with linen it doesn't matter which sides you put together, but some fabrics do have a good and a bad side, but yeah, with linen it doesn't matter. You just take one piece and then you take the other one, and the first step is to pin and sew along here. So now that we have pressed our seam open here, we're gonna fold them together again. And now what we need to do next is we're gonna sew along here and the same on the other side. But one thing we need to do is we need to take our measuring tape and we're gonna measure 1 centimeter from our seam, from our stitching that we have just done. We're gonna measure 1 centimeter down. And then I'm going to stick a needle in here. And now I'm going to pin from this needle to this corner here, to the end of the curve. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start sewing here until this end here, and it's important that we leave the 1 centimeter gap right here, because at the end we're going to take our strap and pull it through here from the inside, but that's the very last step. But it's very important that you don't start sewing from the top here, but that you leave a 1 centimeter gap and start from here until here. And then we're also going to do exactly the same to the other side. I'm going to measure 1 centimeter down from the stitching we have just done, and then I'm going to stick a needle in here. And we're going to sew along here as well. So one thing we're gonna do now is we're gonna fold it in half. Make sure that it's exactly folded in half. And then we're gonna make a little cut, like a little notch right in the middle down here. And later on you'll see why. At the same time, like, because when we cut it out, the fabric was folded, so I can still see like a little bit the crease line here, like the fold line also here. But I think it's just like a bit easier and a bit more helpful when you have like a tiny cut here to know exactly where your middle is. So here we have our front piece, and we are also, well, before we do that, I just want to make sure, like, this is the top of the front, and here the longer side is the bottom. Like, the easiest way to check it is just to fold it in half. But here where the top is, you're also going to fold your fabric in half, and you're just going to make a little cut right in the middle here, and just make sure that it's only 1/2 centimeter deep and not more. And the next step to do now is we're going to overlock this part, and then we're also going to overlock this part. And again, if you don't have an overlock machine, just use your normal machine at this exact option. And what we're doing now, so now we have the top part again, and right now we have the bed facing us, and by bed I mean that we can see all the seam allowance and all the stitches. And now we're going to fold it open. Now we take our front piece, and now the little cut that we made here needs to line up with the little cut on the top of the front of the skirt. And I'm just going to pin a needle in here. And then I'm going to pin along here, like to pin the skirt to the top of the dress. And now I'm gonna roll the rest of the skirt here from the front. Just roll it all together, and then I'm gonna take the other piece and close it again. And now I'm just gonna make sure that all 3 little notches that we made, the little cuts here, that they all line up. And I'm pinning it together here. And now I'm just gonna pin this one to the rest. So I'm just gonna line it up, take the needle out, and put the needle back in again. And this is what it looks like now. So now we're gonna start sewing from here all the way along here until, whoops, the other side. And we can also cut off some of this here. the next step now is, because now it looks like this, right? So we need to flip it the other way. So you're just gonna, it doesn't matter on which side you're gonna do it, but you just need to slowly start flipping it all the other way. And once you can get a hold of your skirt, you can carefully start pulling on the skirt and then just flip it all the right side. And then we go over to our iron. I really need to charge my camera. I only have 5% left. So I'm gonna go get lunch now, charge my camera, and then we continue making the dress. Seriously, this dress is so easy to make. What we have to do now is we need to prepare the back. We need to create a tunnel to pull the elastic through. And then we need to sew the front and the back together. And then we need to finish these ends here. We're gonna fold them in and then in again. But yeah, talking too much. We should go step by step. But yeah, this is what it looks like so far. We need to iron it now. I'm gonna go have lunch, charge my camera, and then I come back and we're gonna finish this. So we are back now, and now we're going to focus on the back of our dress. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the back piece and we're going to fold the top of it 0.5 centimeter down, iron it, and then depending on how wide your elastic is, my elastic is 1 centimeter wide. So then I'm going to fold it down again 1.5 centimeters and iron it. Then we're going to sew it, and then we're going to pull our elastic through. And now we are going to sew along here, and I want us to sew relatively close to the edge, just like a few millimeters away from it. So now it's time to cut our elastic. I always find it really hard telling you how long your elastic should be for each size, just because each elastic is different. Like some elastic is super stretchy, other elastics when you pull on it, sometimes I feel like it's barely moving. But yeah, I'm cutting mine is 31 centimeters, and in the size guide, not the size guide, but like, yeah, it's included in the size guide actually. But yeah, in the instructions you will find a recommendation how long your elastic should be, more or less. Here there's a sticker on it. I bought mine on Amazon. I think this is already the second roll I ever had, and I really like this elastic, so I don't know if this helps you. Panda Hill Elite. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you find the same, I really like this one. But yeah, I would always recommend maybe making it a bit longer at the beginning, and then you can always make it shorter and more tight. But also for the Elisa dress, I don't want the back of the skirt to fit super tight around my waist. I want it to hang like a little bit low. So it's better to have it a bit bigger than maybe it should be. And now I'm taking, here's one safety pin, so I'm putting one safety pin on one side, and then another safety pin on the other side. And now we're just gonna pull the elastic through here. And now when there's no tension on it, I can take this one off. And I'm gonna go to the sewing machine and I'm just gonna sew over it a few times, and then I'm gonna continue pulling the rest of the elastic through. And now I'll pull the rest of the elastic through here until the safety pin comes out. And then I can take the safety pin off as well, and now I can go back to the sewing machine and sew the elastic onto the fabric here. And here's what it looks like now. The elastic is in. What we're gonna do next is we're gonna overlock this side, and then we're also gonna just overlock this part here. What we want to do now is we're going to focus again here on the top part of our back piece, and we just want to hide the overlock part. Like if you've done a zigzag stitch, you don't have to do it, because with your normal sewing machine you can front and back stitch, but because you can't front and back stitch with an overlock machine, you can't just like cut off the thread, because then it will open up again. So you always leave like a few centimeters of thread, and then so now I just pulled it back in, yeah, like this, and we're just gonna hide it in the overlocked part. This is the easiest way to finish off the seam. And I'm also gonna do this on the other side. You only need to do it on the top part. You don't need to do it on the bottom, because at the bottom we're just gonna hem, and then it's gonna be sewn in to not open up again. And now we want to sew the front and the back together. So we're just going to take the front of our dress first, and it doesn't matter right now which one is the inside of the dress and the outside. Like it doesn't matter right now which side is facing us, because right now they still look completely identical. So I'm just going to take this side now, and then I'm going to take the back piece. But now with the back piece you want to make sure that the bad side is facing us. The bad side is where we folded in the fabric. And this is the good side, so we want the good side facing down and the bad side facing us. And now we're gonna pin and sew along one side, and then we're also gonna do exactly the same to the other side. So now I'm going to sew from here to here, and then I'm going to do exactly the same to the other side. So what we're doing right now is, I have the good side of the back facing me, which means this what's facing us right now is the top part that's going to face our body. So here I can see the side seams and the overlocked part, and now we're going to focus on this part here, and we're going to fold it 0.5 centimeter in and then 1.5 centimeters again. And first I'm going to iron it, and then I'm going to sew across it. And then we're also going to do the same on this side, 0.5 centimeter and then 1 centimeter or 1.5 centimeter. Now I want us to sew relatively close to the edge here. So here's the edge, and I want us to sew relatively close to it. I cut my long strap off now. It's 240 centimeters long, and I would recommend you to get the same length. And what I'm doing now, there's a few ways to do this. I've tried a few different ways, and for me this is the easiest way. So I'm going to take the same needle that I'm using to hide my overlock thread, and it's just like quite a big needle, and it has a big opening, like a big hole here. So what I'm doing, I'm going to take one of the ends and I'm going to pull it through the hole, and then I'm going to make 2 knots. And now I'm just going to flip the camera around again to show you where we need to pull the straps through so it looks the nicest in the end. Okay, so now I have the dress laying in front of me with the back facing me. And what we're going to do is we're just going to start on one side. I'm going to start over here. From the bottom, I'm going to pull it through here. And then I'm going to go through that gap that we have left here, and then from the inside I'm going to pull it out so it comes out on the other side again, and then I'm going to pull it down here. So I'm just going to start here, finding the little hole. And now it's always a bit hard finding the exit from the inside. Sometimes what I do, I just take a needle and I'm going to stick it with this side here, in here, just so I can then feel, like it sounds so stupid, but also pull it out. Look, it worked. So this is maybe just going to take a few seconds till you find the opening, and then we're going to take this one here and we're going to pull it through from the top, and then we come out at the bottom again. And now we're just going to pull the strap evenly. So I'm just going to pull more on this side. And now every time when you put on the dress, I would recommend tying the two ends together, just so it doesn't come undone again. And if you wash your dress, I would recommend taking the straps out and then just always pulling them through again. But yeah, this is what it looks like now. And now I would recommend you to try your dress on to figure out how long we want the hem to be and how long we want the dress to be. After trying on my dress, I've decided I want it to be a bit shorter, so there's a few ways to do this. Like, I'm gonna iron it now 2 centimeters up, and then I'm gonna iron it 2 centimeters up again. That's just the way I like to do it. Some people like just pinning it, then sewing it, and then ironing it, completely up to you. But this is just what I figured out works best for me. If I first iron it 2 centimeters up, or however short or long you want your hem to be, and then fold it up again and iron it. And then it's time to sew it, and then we're finished. For today's sewing tutorial for the Elisa dress. I am so happy that so many of you pressured me into finally making this tutorial and releasing the sewing pattern, because when I moved to Australia I didn't have enough luggage space, so I couldn't bring mine, and now that I made it again and I'm wearing it again, I'm like, oh my god, why didn't I bring it? Like, I love this dress so much. I love that it's like made out of linen, but with the super thin straps it makes it look so elegant. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I would love to see how your dresses turn out. Please send me photos, take me new videos. It makes me so happy to see that. And I'm trying to upload sewing tutorials here on YouTube every week. So I really hope I see you next week in my next tutorial. Goodbye!